Broadcasting live from the True Crime Today studios to the world. This is Murder in the Morning with Tony Bruschi and Stacey Cole.
From the Hit Killers Podcast, Murder in the Morning.
Bryan Kohberger is who we are going to be talking about. Prosecutors leading the case against Kohberger are contesting defense claims that investigators overstepped in gathering evidence. In new court filings, they assert that searches of Kohberger's property and digital accounts were lawful and necessary, urging the judge to deny defense motions to exclude evidence. What a ridiculous... Unlawful and unnecessary?
Unnecessary. I mean, they searched Amazon accounts and his phone. These are all very basic things. I mean, let's see if the guy searched to buy a knife.
But you got the guy that you're suspected of killing 4 people. Yeah, they're going to go through your shit. That's not overstepping. Kohberger, but, Ann Taylor's doing her job. Basically stalling. Kohberger, a former criminology Ph.D. student at Washington State University, faces charges for the November 2022 stabbing deaths of University of Idaho students Kaylee Goncalves, Madison Mogen, Xana Kernodle, and Ethan Chapin. His trial is scheduled for August of 25, and a not guilty plea was entered on his behalf. The thing is with this, they're playing the technicality game, and if for some bizarre reason that they would have to go back and say, oh, okay, yeah, you can't have this because it was gained in some way that was overstepping or unlawful or something, then you could have that excluded if somebody screwed up the process and did it in a way that would be not legal. I couldn't tell you what that is, but it could happen. And then having that sort of evidence excluded is not good because that sort of evidence is key stuff in this case. So I highly doubt anything is going to happen with that. And even if there were some sort of issue with some, unless you have some sort of chain of custody break, or you have, if there's something, if somebody does get in trouble for something that would not be related to the evidence or anything tampering with it, the judge would probably just still say it's non-related. It really doesn't affect the evidence at all. Yeah.
I feel like this case, it's had some bumps and stumbles along the way. To me, it doesn't seem like a Karen Reed situation where there's a whole bunch of corrupt people behind the scenes. You've got somebody who allegedly killed 4 people, and there's some evidence lying around, and they gathered it.
Well, and he's over in Pennsylvania with more evidence. So,
yeah, well, exactly. I mean, everywhere this guy went, it seems to match up. What he likes to go look at the stars, and he happens to be right on that street where they're killed.
Yeah. And the phone just happens to go dead at those exact hours.
Yeah.
Yeah. But shows him coming that direction, phone going dead, and then leaving that direction when the phone comes back alive.
What it feels like is, and I'm not saying this happened, but the attorneys went, okay, let's get the checklist of things that we should try. Okay, try that. Oh, that's not working. Try that. I'm sorry. It just looks like the searches are adequate. I mean, they didn't violate his rights. They have a right to go look for this stuff. He is accused of killing people.
But when everybody knows that, but they're playing the game of technicalities. And you're exactly right. You probably start, if you got like a picture, like a big thing of boxes on a wall that you're going to put check marks in. And you got like, some of them are green, some are orange, and some are red. When you get down to the red, you're kind of, you're scraping the bottom of things we're going to object to. I think they're probably still in the middle. I think they've probably used some of their gold up, but they still have many, 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 many more objections that they're going to raise before this thing, if it gets to trial in August of 25. The goal probably being push it back further, and with objections that would require hearings and then ultimately, keep moving things around.
Mm-hmm.
So,
yeah,
but
I don't know.
at some point you're going to get to the bottom and you're going to be like, these objections are just, you got nothing. You got nothing at some point. I mean, this is already nothing, but God knows how low it's going to have to go, because these objections already are just ridiculous. You hear cases all the time where the objections, you go, oh, okay, well, that sounds about right. Whatever, it doesn't matter what side you are on, or if you're not on any side, hopefully, and you can kind of look at it objectively, you can understand a lot of cases where these sort of things make sense. This isn't one of them.
Well, and especially when you're dealing with a student, somebody who is I would say under 30 years old, most of their stuff is going to be digital.
Mm-hmm.
So it's going to be Amazon account. It's going to be your Apple account. It's going to be your cell phone. That's where you need to look for that digital footprint.
Yeah.
Because that's where they spend their lives.
Well, and that's where we go look for evidence. You got to go see where they bought it. And it probably wasn't at Vic's knife shop down the road.
Right. Exactly. It probably was delivered via Amazon.
Exactly.
So, yeah, you need to look at his searches. What was he looking for? What was he buying? Did he buy this?
Anybody who's accused of murdering 4 people are going to have those things looked into. It's like, it's idiotic to say that you think that they wouldn't be. But it doesn't matter if it's idiotic. They can still raise the objection. And we'll see if they have more. I mean, or what they can, if there's anything more behind it. I doubt there is. The defense has argued that the search warrants were too broad and violated Kohberger's rights. These warrants targeted Kohberger's car, phone records, Apple accounts, and other personal belongings, as they should. Defense attorneys claim they were issued without proper specificity. Prosecutors countered that these arguments in a detailed filing stating the burden of proof is on the defendant to show that the search was invalid. Prosecutors emphasized that these warrants were limited to evidence directly connected to the murders and were justified under the circumstances. They pointed out the legal precedent allows for broader language in search warrants when evidence may be concealed or exist in multiple formats, such as electronic devices. Criminals don't advertise where they keep evidence, prosecutors noted, underscoring that the comprehensive search was essential. Senior Deputy Prosecuting Attorney Ashley Jennings explained that the evidence sought was clearly tied to the crimes. The seizure of items was limited to the crime Kohberger is accused of committing, she stated. Jennings added that the broader search parameters are sometimes necessary, especially when dealing with the digital evidence. Prosecutors also acknowledged that Kohberger had a reasonable expectation of privacy in his personal belongings, such as his vehicle and phone records. Yeah, those are always kept private when you're suspected of murdering people.
Right.
No, sir. I'm sorry, Your Honor. We can't look at the phone records. Well, we think they might have murdered 4 people. Well, that's private. It's private information. We set that precedent, then like every murderer can communicate via phone because it won't be allowed in court.
Well, exactly. And how many other cases have that precedent set? I'm sorry. Everything. If you are accused of murder, everything in your life is going to get looked at.
And vehicle. You're suspected of killing 4 people. You can't look inside my car. Like, what? However, they argued that substantial probable cause justified the searches and that investigators obtained court-approved warrants to conduct them. They stressed that Kohberger's right to privacy does not protect criminal activities. While Thursday's filings focused primarily on the validity of the search warrants, they did not extensively address challenges to other evidence, including DNA testing in the search of Kohberger's Amazon account. Prosecutors also submitted sealed exhibits alongside their arguments, which the public cannot currently access. The case obviously continuing forward with a lot more twists and turns to come, everybody.
Yeah, Merry Christmas, huh?
Yeah. It's just, I don't know. I mean, is my mind made up? It's very well swayed one way. But I want to see the trial. I want to hear the evidence. My mind could easily go back another way should there be, reasonable evidence that points another direction. We just haven't heard any of it yet.
Well, somebody did this.
Yeah.
And the evidence is really pointing toward him.
Well, it is. I mean, I'm saying, we haven't heard it yet. It doesn't mean it exists, though, either.
True.
So it's, it's not looking good. A lot. I mean, just profiling him. He is that type of person. And I'm not saying like his side profile shot. I'm talking like psychological profile.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, kind of fits the mold like to a T. So it'll be very.
And I still want to know what he was doing cleaning out his car in Pennsylvania with gloves on.
Yeah. There's a lot to learn in this case. I think a lot of it is really just pretty obvious and right there in front of us. But there's this guise of what if. It'll be very interesting to watch.
You're in the thick of a true crime saga, every detail sinking in, and then, wham, a commercial about something you couldn't care less about. It's like being served a microwaved dinner at a 5-star restaurant. But it doesn't have to be this way. Go for True Crime Today Premium Plus on Apple Podcasts. With True Crime Today Premium Plus, you get uninterrupted, ad-free episodes, extended interviews that dig even deeper into the muck, and early access so you can brag to your friends. It's like ordering the secret menu at a crime buffet. So, search for True Crime Today Premium Plus on Apple Podcasts, subscribe, and savor every twisted detail without interruption.